Welcome to LEGO Moved by Magnorail, a series of 3 videos whereby we show you how we got LEGO moving using the Magnorail system. As with all my layouts, I start off with the insulation multi-use foam board because I router the track into it rather than lay it on top. The original concept was to have a road layout going around, and then have a water layout, and then just a short little one down the front of the board. However, as with all good things, it didn't come to pass. So my next layout was going to be with a circular trip for the cars and an off-road quad bike section going around a lake, and it turned out that we ended up having 4 circuits, one for larger vehicles, a second one for small little cars, the third for the quad bikes, and the 4th for the lake. Getting it all set up was fairly straightforward. If you've seen my previous videos, mapped it all out, got the router out, and went through and routed out the area. The only thing is, with the quad bike, I wanted to have it on a higher level, but I also wanted to go up and down a few dips in that, which in concept was alright, but that circle bit there, in actual fact, when we got the chain in, the change between the gradient and the flat was too sharp, and I couldn't get the cars to go up and over. So we modified it later on and just made it a slight curve. So once all the channeling was in, we got the motors put in, and the only thing I would do, I had these as medium motors. I probably would have put the fast motors in these ones. I put the fast motors in the rest of them. I find that they have the higher torque, but the faster motors seem to be able to cope with more vehicles. So that would be the only thing. Always make sure that the top of the channel is level with your board, so there's no raised areas, and also no areas that dip below. Once you've cut all your blue links off the sprue, make sure you get those edges rounded again. If you don't, and you're putting it together, it sticks. And of course, if the chain sticks, it's going to come out, it's going to cause problems. So ensure that when you do all your cutting of the sprue, that you get those edges nicely rounded. A bit of sandpaper, drag it over, and they come up really smooth and looking good. Just a small thing, but make sure you do it right to start with. And as you can see, it gives a nice easy movement. The other thing to note is when you're putting your chain in, that this is a very highly engineered piece of equipment you're working with, and when you get your links together and you've decided which way your vehicles are going to go, make sure that the rounded section points the way that you want to go. And this is all just part of keeping everything running smooth. It can go in reverse, there's no problems, but it is designed with the round section to smoothly go around your channeling. Like that, sitting in the channeling ready to go. Once you've got all your links sorted and in, and it's just a matter of joining up the final two. Remember that you've got to try and get everything running smoothly. Now, to do that, you might have to jiggle some of the sizes of your links. Don't let it go zigzaggy, because that's not good, but also try and get it as tight as you can. Putting the magnets into the chain, I use my little, for the track magnets, I use my template, drop the magnets on, they get the right polarity, slide the screwdriver underneath, flip it over, and then push it into the track, and they'll be correct polarity for when you're operating. I also use a marker to show where the magnets are. If you've got the clear acetate section in any part, you can then see where your magnets are coming up, and easy to place vehicles if you need to. Otherwise, the Magnorail Magnifinder will do the same job. Now, when I was in Denmark, I went to Legoland, and here's me and the captain of the plane just saying hello. But I was able to buy in the Legoland shop some Lego paper, and I've used this extensively, as you'll see later on, and I've used it to go around the borders of my system. The lake water and the track for the quad bikes was just one of my baseboards that I scanned and then just changed the colour in my Photoshop type program. I advocate printing off your road beds in whatever colour, style or whatever you want, and then laminating them. Now I use A3 pouches with this, but they're a matte laminate, and that way they don't reflect any of your lighting if you're out at exhibitions or at home. So it's fairly simple. We just print off the design that we want. So you can see the Lego bricks in the back there. This is the quad bike trail going through. I've got an A3 printer, which also helps the matter, but if you've only got an A4, it just means a bit more sticking and joining of stuff, but the longer you can get it, the better it is. I mean, if you can print and take them down to Officeworks or one of your office supplies and have it done on a long sheet of laminating, that would look great and reduce the amount of joins. Once I've got them all mapped out, I then get the double-sided sheets, the sticky sheets, and just get them placed all round beside the track. It's so cheap, I just use as much as I need to. I don't cover the whole baseboard with them, but yeah, enough so when we do put the road bed on, it's going to stick and stick well. Make sure that everything's dusted down, there's no residue, because it's a pain if you've got dust and dirt underneath. And it's really hard trying to find the gap between the sticky surface and the backing surface. But a sharp blade, a bit of perseverance and good eyesight gets you through. So once you've got all one side stuck down and make sure it's all covered, you then start peeling off the top sheet, making sure that it's still, the bottom sheet's still stuck on, the sticky, and then you end up with this sticky surface to be able to put your road bed down on. So obviously you do a dry run before you do the final sticking down. Going around the curves and the slope was interesting, but it all worked. Now, where the drive unit is there, I'm going to put some clear acetate in so people can see the drive, because this is for exhibitions. People always ask how it works, so I always try to leave one section uncovered that people can then use to be able to see what is actually going on. You'll notice I've also put the acetate covering over the drive section. This is important because the chain will lift if there's any freedom of movement. And you've got flathead screws that are supplied with your drive unit, and that can be put in there so everything is flush. And then another piece of, well actually that's one of the water surfaces that I've included. So here's my quad bike. You can see in the background there the wrapping paper. Wrapping paper has been laminated, and then the quad bike, here she is going around, or he. So that all worked. As I said, I would have liked to have had a few more ups and downs, but the chain just doesn't have that response to be able to go on very sharp up and down. So it has to be able to transition between a rise and the flat surface fairly good. They still went round the curved raised area quite well, so I was happy with that. And there you can see the chain going through. Here he is, going full flat out. Now anything that's four-wheel, small, can go on this, but I've also been able to get the motorbikes going, and a bit of work with that, a bit of specialisation of getting the magnets on, but it just adds to the show, and I'm quite happy with the way the motorbike goes around the circuit as well. So those that you are into motorbikes, this will be a chance to get your Lego bikes going. So you can see how I've used the laminated Lego design, both for the roadbed and for the walls. Both the bikes and the boats are one starter set, which would be the fast slider starter set. So that just gives you an idea of the presentation, because you've just got to have these things looking good, and I think the paper just does the great job. The actual photocopy of the scanned paper that I laminated gives you that great finish. And also we did some static grass work to try and fill the areas in. I used 3 lots of static grass of various lengths. Using static grass is just like mixing paint. You just get your colours, blend them together into a bowl, and just rub them through your finger, and then you'll get the colour that you want. So if you want it a bit browner, you put some more of the desert scrub in. The summer blend is a bit yellower, and then you've got your basic sort of woodland scenic one at the top there. The beauty of the static grass is that you can reuse it. Whatever doesn't stick, you can just scoop it all up, or in my case I vacuum, which I'll show you later. Vacuum it up, put it back in the box, label it, this is what you used it for, but I used my mixture right down to the very last thing, which was great. So applying static grass, straightforward. You've got your applicator, which come in various shapes and sizes. So you put them in, you then get PVC, PVA paint, glue, and you just put that wherever you want the grass to be. So I just used a small pot, went round, put the glue in, and I don't water it down. The next thing, you put the probe, which is, I don't know if it's a positive or negative or whatever, but it gets the charge onto the surface, and then just pushing the can through makes the static grass adhere through static electricity. Discharge it. Always remember to discharge the probe, because that voltage can kick, and people with heart conditions should definitely be very, very careful, as it puts out quite a lot of voltage with the charge. The other thing I use is my little USB vacuum cleaner, which I just run off a power pack, which you use for battery recharging and what have you. But I found this gets into all the little nooks and crannies, sucks it up. You just take off the cover and bang, you can push it back into your storage box. I will be selling a version of these on my website in the near future. Thanks for watching the quad bike stage 1 of LEGO moved by Magnorail. More to come. See you around. Bye.